Hello my 3D printing friends. 3D printing with two color, with one extruder and one nozzle, with manual filament change, it is possible. And I'm not talking about method which I already mentioned earlier, where you can replace the color on a certain layer and everything from that layer will be printed in new color. But I'm talking about a method where you can mix colors in the same layer, so you can print, for example, different colors on vertical surface, or for example you would like to 3D print a die with the different colors, or maybe you would like to print some text on curved surface or surface under the angle. This will be a long video. I will show you my failed prints too. I will show you first the design process. I'm using a Fusion 360. Then I will show you how to prepare the G-code in a slicer. I'm using a PrusaSlicer, and the 3D printing will be on this Prusa Mark III, where I have only one extruder and one nozzle, but I will use two different color of filaments. Here you can see the timestamps. You can jump to any part of the video. Be careful, first two are some kind of fail prints. If you are in a hurry, then jump directly to the last object where I have the final settings. And also at the end I will summary, where I will give you some tips when it's worth to use this method for color printing, and I will do some calculation how much extra filament and extra time you will need to 3D print objects in two color. Okay, let's start with the die. Okay, let's start first with the cube. Create a rectangle, center rectangle, and I think I will create 16 millimeter cube. Symmetric. $16 Okay, we have a cube. Let's create a sphere. I want some rounded corners. Create a sphere in this plane, and in the middle intersect. Okay, 22 millimeters size will be okay. Okay, we have the base of the cube, of the die, and now let's add some numbers, but instead of dots I will add numbers. It will look better, so it's better for testing. So let's start with the number 6. Create a text 6, and I will add a dot. But I like better this Arial rounded font. 8 millimeter size. Let's make it bold, and now let's move it to be approximately in the middle of the circle, the number. Finish sketch. Now I will extrude this number, but only the text number. Mine is 0.8. In this case, the vertical letters will have two lines of 0.4 millimeter nozzle diameter. So, but I don't want to cut immediately, only first create a new body. Okay. Now if I check the created bodies, so this is the die, and this is the number 6, and this is the dot, I think. Yes. So I want to cut the number from the die, so I will use the combine tool, select the die, and then I will select objects to cut, and this is the number 6 and this dot, but I want to keep the tools, cutting tools. Okay, now I have those holes in this base body, but I also have these numbers separated as a separate object. Okay, I will do the same with the rest of the numbers. And I have this die prepared, as I will show you now. So all numbers are cut from the base body, but also I have those objects separated. Here they are. I have to export only two STL files. One is the main body, the die. Save as STL. D6 main body. And now I will hide this body, and I will go to this, well, I didn't give the name now, unsaved, and export as STL. So it will export now every visible body to the next file, and I will name it D6 numbers. Okay, we finished with Fusion 360, and now let's open the slicer. This is PrusaSlicer software, and first I will insert the main body, and then I will click here and add a part, load numbers, open. And it's there. You cannot see it because it's same color. And now let's do the settings. So printer settings, I will enable two extruders, a single extruder, multi-material. Okay. Next thing, in a custom code, I have to add tool chain G code. It's M600 for my 3D printer. It's very standard command for automatic tool change, but you have to check for your 3D printer. Does it support M600? Multiple extruders. Yes, very important to disable this wipe tower. We don't need it, just to show you, because now it will create this wipe tower. It's required when you are printing with automatically with some automatic multicolor unit, but I don't need it here because I will do everything manually. So here it is. Only now it's Prusa and Pile. I will change the color for the second one so it's better visible. And of course I have to set here, the main body will be extruder number 1 and the numbers will be extruder number 2. I will change to the 30% infill, and I will use brim. Usually I wouldn't use for this one, but I don't want to have a failed print after, I don't know, 20-30 filament changes. Okay, slice now. Let's see it closer. So it will start here with number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So according to the slicer, I will have 38 layers where I have 2 color print. Let's remember these numbers. So used filament, if this would be in 1 color printed, 0.86 meters and approximately 30 minutes, 34 seconds. Because at the end I will calculate how much more filament I used, and of course the time, how much more time I needed for this 3D printing. Wow, this will be a long print. Okay, let's generate the G code and start with the 3D printing. I just started and he asked for the filament change. Was it successful? Yes, insert the filament, but which one? I hope the main color, which will be green. First attempt moved from the bed because after filament change it was too much flowing with the black color, and nozzle just stuck into this, hit into this plus material and moved from the bed. So here a lot of flowing, but on the other side it looks, it could be good. And also this is the number one on this side. Well, it's ugly. So many filament changes, but I don't have to count it because in a slicer there is the number, the tool change, only I didn't notice at the beginning. So in my second experiment I decided to try to 3D print with the wipe tower, or waste tower, how I call it. And I decided to 3D print this badge, which will be placed on the curved surface, because I needed a new object which will be very small, because that waste wipe tower will be in same size as the object. So you can see first I cut these letters from the main body, but also I need those letters too. So first I will export the, here are the letters, so I export the main body, and then I will hide it. So in next export, everything else, every visible body will be exported to the STL file. And this is now PrusaSlicer. Again, let's do all those settings. First I insert the main body, and then I add a part which will be the letters. They are now in the same color, but when I enable two extruders, then I can change the color of the filament. And here, let's find it. Yes, here it is. I will left the wipe tower enabled. So there is the wipe tower, and let's change the color of the one of the filament. And of course, very important, M600 is the tool change command for the Prusa 3D printer. And of course, first extruder, second extruder, and I think it's ready for the slicing. And here I have information that I will have 20 tool changes. So now that wipe tower will be also used. So this is the 3D printing process. So you can see I have again those problems with the extra flowing after filament change. Here that you can see that white drop. Unfortunately it came down from the bed, so I manually pulled the filament here, which was extruded on this face block. But the main object is still okay. Only 5 layers and it will be finished. As you can see, I had a lot of problems here. After removed wipe tower, I pulled this filament with my hand when it was onto the side. Here you can see again that very big amount of the material after tool change. That's because I didn't disable the retraction. Crazy solution, but I had to find something which will work for last 4 or 5 layers. And this is the finest layer. It's finished. Oh. Just let's load it. So theoretically, this waste block should be here, but it came down from the bed. But I was lucky that the last 5 layers I could finish it. Okay, in my next experiment, I decided to 3D print both methods on same object. I decided to design my business card, but this one, letters and the background will be in the same layer. So this is not the same method which I already showed when you just change the color on a certain layer. And in the first method, I will print using a wipe tower, and then I will print it without wipe tower. So again, inserting the main body and then adding a part, which are the letters. And finally, I realized here that I have to reduce or completely disable this retraction until tool is disabled. And selecting the extruder 1 and extruder 2 for the layers. So there will be very small wipe tower because this is very low object, only under 0.6 millimeters. So finally, 3D printing was okay, only I get some crazy lines. You can see that after tool change, also with a very big amount of the... I don't understand, he left here also a line. And you can see a lot of flow here. I don't understand why. But at least the object is clear. You will see the end. Printer is filling the letters now, or in some random order. And I don't understand why is this thread here pulled after tool change. This one here. Fun. It drops out the filament from extruder. And now this is printed in the same level as the background. And this is the wipe tower. Of course it was very small now because this is the 0.6 millimeter high of the card. Now I will print the same card but without the wipe tower. And as always it starts with the filament change. printed with wipe tower, printed without. They are equal, only here I can see some missing filaments. After tool change, nozzle started here, so maybe you can see on the camera that here a line is missing and only here paired. I also compared the G codes with different settings, and I noticed there are not big difference. Maybe one or two lines are inserted on some settings, which are not necessary here when printing with one extruder with manual changes. So I decided one more test, and these are my final recommended settings so far. So this is very small object, approximately 1 centimeter, a little bit bigger in diameter. And these are my final settings. So inside the main body, then adding a part, which is the second color. Next, in the printer settings, set the number of extruders to 2, and don't change that single extruder multi-material option. You have to add the tool change G codes, which is M600 for my printer at least. And this is very important to disable or reduce significantly this retraction where tool is disabled, and this you have to do for both extruders. In printer settings, change the extruders for objects, so you have to set 1 or 2. And then you can see number of tool changes here, but wipe tower is enabled. And then after this, usually I disable this wipe tower, because now you cannot see number of tool changes. So using a wipe tower to see the tool changes and then disable it. So I recommend don't use that wipe tower. And of course I had to test it. It's not perfect always. After tool change there are some extra materials on the nozzle, or some stringing sometimes appear. I just cut it with the pliers, but I recommend. These are my settings, which works so far the best for me. If you have better solutions, please, I'm waiting those links in the comments, so I would like to see a better solution for this if there is. Just cutting the stringing. I notice if I pull after tool change in the last moment, then less materials flows from the nozzle until it goes above the object. I will show you 2 printings now, and don't be confused, I will cut the tool changes from the video, so only printing will be visible. 13.17, 5.47, 50 millimeters approximately. The conclusions. Well, it's very hard to print with manual filament change in two color. Printer keeps you very busy, you have to be there all the time. And using a wipe tower, I had a lot of unwanted movements. Sometimes he dropped out the filament before tool change. So I definitely don't recommend using this wipe or waste tower. Don't forget to disable or significantly reduce the retraction when the tool is disabled. You saw that in a few seconds ago. My tips when I recommend using this method. Well, if you want to print something in different color, but only a few layers, then it can be used. For example, imagine that you have a doll and you want to print only maybe eyes and mouth in different colors. So this replacement filament change has to be only in these layers. But if it has some kind of zipper or vertical line, then you should you have to replace filament in every line. That's too much, believe me. So now it's your turn. Every STL file used in this video is downloadable from my website. There is a link in the description. Start with the smallest one, try, and if you find better settings, please write me in the comment, give me a link to your video, your picture. I would like to see it, because I'm still looking for better solution than mine. And in one of my next video, I'm curious, I would like to print in 3 colors. It's because printing in 2 color, it's a little bit easier, because you don't have information which filament you have to insert. Take out the one, replace it with the other. It's easy as that. But I'm curious how can I print with the 3 colors, because maybe I don't get the information which color has to be inserted. So it will be fun, but that's the subject for one of my next videos. I hope you will follow me to that video too. Okay, thank you for watching, and happy printing. Bye.